fair skies on Saturday and Sunday, and on Monday, expect a chance of thunderstorms.
Good morning. It's time now for Storm Watch. Well, Tropical Storm Chantal has now fizzled out, but right behind that we have a newly formed tropical storm, Tropical Storm Dean, which is approaching the Bahamas. Here's the very latest information that we have regarding Tropical Storm Dean. It is currently packing winds of 60 miles per hour, roughly centered 110 miles east of Grand Turk, and it continues to move fairly quickly off to the west-northwest. Now, we expect this west-northwestward movement to continue at least for the next 24 hours or so, but after that time span, it will eventually turn more to the northeast, we think, and start to recurve back over some of the open waters. At any rate, it's certainly threatening the Bahamas at this particular point. And we have numerous tropical storm advisories in effect, tropical storm warnings for the southeastern Bahamas, also for the Turks and Caicos, and then we have tropical storm watches, though, for the central Bahamas. Now, it's likely that around the islands we will definitely see some very squally, gusty winds, some choppy waters too, so definitely some rough conditions across the Bahamas in the next 24 hours. At this point, we are definitely seeing still a very poorly organized tropical storm. In fact, this tropical storm is very reminiscent of Chantal. It's poorly organized and ill-defined area of low pressure. The center of circulation probably somewhere roughly about here, with all the deepest convection to the north and east of the center of circulation. At any rate, though, it's been producing some very heavy rains around Puerto Rico, like around San Juan. We've had reports of over 1.5 inches of rain, and it's still raining. In fact, widespread rains all across the island. Certainly, too, some of the hillier elevations will no doubt be seeing some very heavy rainfall. So don't be surprised to see perhaps some localized flooding over parts of Puerto Rico as these heavy tropical downpours are sweeping in across the island. Now, again, where does Dean go from this point on? Well, at least for the time being, we're expecting that west-northwestward trek, but then eventually curving and turning more to the northeast and eventually bringing it back over the open waters. Now, this is something that we certainly have to watch very closely because we have some very warm water temperatures throughout this region, and there is the possibility for some further strengthening. Outside of Dean, though, most of the Caribbean looking pretty good at this point, and the Gulf of Mexico, too, relatively quiet. Farther out across the Atlantic, though, we've got a couple tropical waves, one now approaching the northern shoreline of South America, another tropical wave just behind that. These are very poorly organized at this point, although a more impressive impulse and more impressive tropical wave is just starting to emerge off the African shoreline. Next, we head over towards the eastern Pacific, and after a long lull in the weather, now we're seeing more activity. There's a minor tropical depression 6E, with winds of 35 miles per hour. Now, the good news with this tropical depression, it too looks fairly weak at this particular point. It's generally trekking to the north, and that will eventually take it over some cooler waters. So we do expect this tropical depression to continue to weaken over time. Lastly, we head over towards the western Pacific, and over the past several days, the top weather story here has been Typhoon Pabuk. Well, Pabuk at one point was a very formidable typhoon. Now it has considerably weakened. It's merely a tropical depression, and it did bring some very heavy rains to parts of Japan, but that system is moving on out, and things not looking too bad, although we're still seeing some squally conditions for parts of Malaysia and Indonesia at this point. But overall, at least for Japan, things are greatly improved. Well, now let's switch gears. We go from the tropics back to the states, and we're tracking some very heavy downpours for parts of the nation's midsection. A lot of clouds enveloping the Central Plains, the mid-Mississippi Valley, and back across the Ohio Valley, too. And with these clouds, some really soaking rainfall. Perhaps some of the worst weather conditions so far this morning continue over Illinois. We had some reports overnight of about 6 to 10 inches of rain for some locales. There's a flood warning that continues for Schuyler County in Illinois. We have a series of low-pressure areas marching off to the east for today, and each one of these lows will help to churn up the atmosphere, and we'll be seeing more showers and more thunderstorms developing throughout the day. And with the atmosphere quite unstable, there is the possibility of maybe some severe weather. We will certainly have to watch out for more heavy downpours, but also, too, the possibility for hail and gusty winds with some of these thunderstorms, so be on guard from Kansas all the way back to the northeast. This does include those of you in Buffalo, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, St. Louis, and Kansas City. It could be a rough Thursday for you. Here's the forecast. We watch these low pressure areas migrating towards the east. The rain will also start to pick up in intensity across the northeastern states as we continue throughout the day. So not starting off too badly right now for New York City or for Philadelphia, but your weather really goes downhill by this afternoon as showers and thunderstorms will be threatening your area. And again, these showers and storms putting out very heavy amounts of rainfall. Well, now let's look ahead. Let's check out the forecast for the weekend. Here's Rick.
Starting with Saturday, when we do expect a mix of clouds and sunshine from Boston to New York City, west to Detroit, Pittsburgh, and Charleston and West Virginia as well, a mix of clouds and sunshine. Popcorn thunderstorms for the southeast, more concentrated stormy weather near Kansas City, possibly in Denver, while the rain goes away and the sunshine.
Degrees under fair skies. Forecast for your area. Expect fair skies on Saturday and Sunday, and on Monday, expect a chance of thunderstorms.
Welcome back. It's 9 minutes before the top of the hour. It's time for Storm Watch and, of course, our tropical update. And the good news about Tropical Storm Dean is that it has weakened significantly. It was once threatening the Bahamas, but now it's down to a tropical depression. Now for the very latest, here's our hurricane expert, John Hope.
Well, thank you very much, Kelly. And really now the Air Force wasn't able to find a closed low out there, so it's really more of a tropical wave.